Hello guys, hope everyone is doing good. Today we are going to learn how to set up a Django project with Postgres, Nginx and Gunicon on any Linux system in Google Cloud using virtual machine. It is one of the efficient ways for deploying a Django project. First of all, let's go to the Google Chrome, go to the Google console. Yeah, this is our Google console. So here let's go to select a project. Then I'll create a new project, name it as a Django deployment. Our Django deployment project is created now. So first we have to activate the compute engine. So go to the options and click on compute engine. Here it is asking to enable this API. Okay, let's enable the API. Now we have enabled our compute engine. Here we have to create an instance. This is a virtual machine instance, so you can give any name, and I'm going to choose the least one, so this might be the low cost one, and it's E2. The machine type would be the lowest one because I'm just using it for the testing purposes, so I'll choose E2 micro. Enable the confidential. I don't need this. I don't need this. Here we need to check these two options for allowing the HTTP and HTTPS traffic, and we'll just create it. Our instance is being created. Now our instance is ready to use. Let's check if anything is there on this IP address. Okay, there's nothing. The site can't be reached. Let's go to VM instances again. Before that, I want to show you that this is the sample Django project. There's nothing in this. Here I can just check it in the Google. Sorry, it's 8000 port. I have put this project on the GitHub as well so that we can use it efficiently on our virtual machine. Go to our virtual machine, and here you can see there is an SSH option. You can SSH into the Google Cloud instance directly. I'll zoom this so that it will be easy. So now we have securely connected into the instance. Let's go navigate to home and see if there is anything. Yeah, here there is only one folder which names the user. Okay, yeah, there's nothing inside the directory. So here we are going to create our project. I want to run the commands as the sudo user, so I'm just making the user as sudo, and now I'll install git apt get update. Now type apt get install git. Let's clone the project, git clone, and now you can go to the GitHub and copy this cloning code and just paste it here. It didn't ask for the GitHub password as it is the public repository. If I do it as a private, then you have to enter the GitHub credentials. So let's go into the project. Django underscore deploy. Let's see if everything is there, the files are there. Let's install the required packages. Apt install python 3-pip, python 3-def, libpq, postgresql, postgresql business just from contrib and nginx, and call as well. our required packages have been installed successfully. Now let's create the PostgreSQL database in our virtual machine system. For that, you need to sudo -u postgres psql. Now we are into the Postgres command line. Let's create the database. Create database. You can name it anything. So I'll just name it as MyDB, and don't forget to use the semicolon at the end of the statement. Now our database is created. Let's create the user for the database. Create user. I can give my name Omkar with password would be anything. I just give 2311. It's up to you. The user is created. Actually, we haven't given the semicolons, so it is thinking that there is a next line, so I have given the semicolon here. Then you will see the create role. That means our role is created. We have to give the permissions to the role, so let's write the command alter role, and username is Omkar. Set client encoding to utf8 and semicolon again. Yeah, role altered, and now I need to run another command. Set default, oh sorry, it's better if you write in small letter, default transaction isolation to read committed and semicolon. Alter the role, and now we need to set the time zone to UTC. Let's set time zone to UTC. Now we need to grant all the privileges on the database to this user. We will write grant all privileges on database, the database name, which is MyDB in my case, then to the username, which is Omkar, and end with the semicolon. Sorry, give it in the small letters, Omkar, and done. Granted, the permissions are granted. Now we need to exit this Postgres command line. Just type / and q. Now we have created our database successfully. Let's update the pip as well. pip3 install ---- upgrade pip. We'll install the virtual env. pip3 install virtual env. This helps in creating the virtual environment. So we are outside the Django deploy project. Here we'll create the venv folder, which will be easy for us, so that we don't need to track this venv folder. So for creating the virtual env, we need to write virtual env space the folder name simply, and if you check it, the new folder created with the name venv. Let's activate the virtual environment. So for activating venv/bin/activate, here you can see the environment is activated. We need to do some changes in our existing project. For that, it's better to make the changes in the local projects rather than doing directly on the virtual machine. This would be a good practice for you every time. So don't directly edit in the repository on your virtual machine. You can first edit in your local system and then push into the GitHub and SSH into our virtual machine. Then you can directly pull your changes from the Git. Let's open our project. Go to the terminal, and I will install pip. So we'll install Gunicon Psycho pg2 -binary. I'll tell you what is Gunicon in some time. Go to the settings.py file. Here we need to give the IP address, which is this one. We got it from the VM machines. I'll copy this and I'll give it in the allowed hosts. Then we'll comment these databases and write the PostgreSQL databases. Here we need to give the database name of the virtual system. So my virtual system's Postgres database is MyDB and the user is Omkar and the password is 2311. Here we need to define the static root as well. Static root, and I'll os.path. Actually, let's import this first. Import os and I'll write os.path.join base.dir, comma. All the static files would be in the static folder. So I'll commit and push this changed database configuration. If some people doesn't know this kind of feature in PyCharm, I'll let them know. It is a very good UI provided by PyCharm where you can see all the changes what you have done in your existing files, and you can select what files to be committed by this and just give the message and commit. I'll just commit this. The files have been committed now. I'll push this onto the master branch, git push origin master. Yeah, now go to our SSH terminal, go into the project, Django -deploy. Now just pull the changes, git pull origin master. You'll receive the changes, right? Now we have successfully returned the code for connecting the database. Now I'll type some commands, python manage.py migrate, which migrates all the database changes into the existing database. Here we have forgot one thing in our local project, pip freeze requirements.txt. Okay, these are, I'm writing them into the file. So now if you see, there is a new file created, name is requirements.txt here, and it has all the packages. And again I'll commit this file. If you see, this is a cool UI which makes our process very easy for committing. And simply I'll push it onto the master. And following this method where you'll edit in your local repository and you'll just push it onto the GitHub, then you'll go to the SSH terminal and you'll pull your changes. This is a best way so that there wouldn't be any extra conflicts in the project. So I'll pull that again, pull origin master. Now I will install all the requirements -r requirements.txt into our virtual environment. All our packages have been installed into the current virtual environment, which is venv. Now I can run the command python manage.py migrate. Sorry. All the migrations have been applied to the database which we have created, that is MyDB. Now I will also create the super user, create super user for our Django database. I'll just give my name and something like om@gmail.com 311 311. It's okay. Yep, the super user has been also created. Now another command which we have to run is collect static, but for that also we need to do that in our local repository, python manage.py collect static. I'm repeating this method so that you will also get used for this method, and this makes your life very easier by lessening your conflicts between your real project and the virtual machines project. Now it's done. So a new file have been created. I'll just click on this. Okay, where are they? Yeah, I'll commit the changes, collect static files, and then commit. I'll push those changes, git push origin master. And in your terminal, you can pull the changes again. Origin master, yeah, that's cool. I'll clear the terminal for now. First, we have to allow the 8000 port because we are going to test our Django project on 8000 port. UFW allow 8000. To install this, simply apt install UFW, and now let's allow the 8000 port. Yeah, rules updated. Run the python manage.py run server, and the server port would be 0.0.0.0 colon 8000. Okay, sorry. Yeah, the server is running. Go to the browser and check if the server is running. Let's open our IP address, and we need to remove the HTTPS to HTTP and open the 8000 port. Here we cannot see the web page loading. It's because we haven't allowed this IP address to run anything on 8000 port. For that, we need to give some permissions. In the more action section in the instance, go to view network details, and under the network interface details, go to the default. Now go to the firewall rules. Inside this, here we have allowed only TCP IT port, but we haven't allowed 8000 port anywhere. That's why that the IP address is not allowing anything on the 8000 port. Here we need to add a firewall rule and give Django is HTTP 8000 port. We shouldn't give any spaces in the name. Here you can give any description or you can just leave it. In the targeted tags, you need to give HTTP server and IP ranges filter. Source IP ranges, it would be just 0.0.0.0/0. Under the protocols and ports, here we need to add TCP port, which is 8000. We can create the rule. Now the port 8000 firewall is also been activated. Let's reload the page and see if we can see anything. Wow, our Django project is running successfully on this IP address. You can access from anywhere. But here the other thing is that when you close the terminal, this project starts stopping just as in our local system. So for that, we need to use the Gunicon and Nginx server, which continuously runs our project without shutting it down even after we shut down our terminal. Let's go to the terminal now and stop the server. We have already installed the Gunicon application server. This Gunicon application server will serve as an interface to our application, which further translates the client requests from HTTP to our Python calls that our application can process. We will test Gunicon to make sure that it can serve the application. Inside our project directory, use Gunicon to load the project's WSGI module, which is Web Server Gateway Interface module, which can be achieved by running the command gunicon -bind 0.0.0.0, port number is 8000, and our WSGI file resides inside the deploy_Django, which is the main app. .wsgi file. Sorry, I have to activate the environment. It has been deactivated, so I'll activate again. Yeah. Okay, let's go back to our server and see if the Gunicon can start our server. When we run the same thing, now the server is running, but this time it is running with the Gunicon server rather than our Django's real server. And again, in this case, if we stop this, the server stops running, and run this page won't be loaded because the server has been stopped. We have seen Gunicon can interact with our Django application, but we should implement a more robust way of starting and stopping the application server. To accomplish this, we'll make some systemd service and socket files. Here systemd is a system and service manager for Linux operating systems. It has the features like starting up the system services parallelly at the boot time, which we are going to use in our case. We will create a Gunicon socket file. This Gunicon socket will be created at boot and will listen for connections. When a connection occurs, systemd will automatically start the Gunicon process to handle that connection. For that, let's create a systemd socket file for Gunicon by typing nano /etc/ systemd /system and /gunicon.socket. Inside, we will create a unit section to describe the socket, which is unit description, and we'll just say that gunicon.socket. Then a socket section to define the socket location. Socket listen stream would be /run /gunicon.sock, and an install section to make sure the socket is created at the right time. Install wanted by sockets.target. Now we have to save this file. To save the file, Ctrl O, enter. Then you can exit by Ctrl X. Now create and open a systemd service file for the Gunicon. For that, we can write nano etc/ again we'll go to the systemd/system and we'll write the gunicon.service file. The service file name should match the socket file name except the extension. In our case, socket file name is Gunicon, so the name of the service file is also Gunicon, but each extension is different. We will start with a unit section again, unit, which is used to specify metadata and dependencies. We'll put a description of our services here. Description equal to, we'll say Gunicon space demo. We tell the init system to only start the service file after the Gunicon socket is created, because our service relies on the socket from the socket file. For that, we need to include a requires directive, requires equal to gunicon.socket, and after equal to network.target. And we are also saying that this file has to start after the network targets have been executed. Next, we'll open up the service section. Service, we'll specify the user and group that we want to process to run under. User equal to, in my case, the user is Sinihalchal123. We will give our regular user account ownership of the process since it owns all of the relevant files. We'll then give the group ownership to the www-data group so that Nginx can communicate easily with the Gunicon. Group equal to www-data. We'll then map out the working directory equal to, we'll say home /Sinihalchal123 /Django _deploy. This is my working directory. Now we have to specify the command to start the service. exec start equal to /home /Sinihalchal123 /venv /bin /Gunicon. Here we are giving the complete path to the Gunicon executable, which is under our virtual environment. Then I'll / and in the next line access the log files for any errors or any other log files of the Gunicon, and we can give some optional parameters like workers. Here I'm giving workers as 3. Then I will bind it to the Unix environment. Bind Unix Gunicon.sock and / and then our main apps WSGI file, which is web server gateway interface, and inside that there is a function called application. So we are pointing to that. This is the point where the application starts from in the Django. And here if you see this line, we are binding the process to the Unix socket we created so that the process can communicate with the Nginx. Finally, we'll add an install section. This will tell systemd what to link this service to if we enable it to start at boot. We want this service to start when the regular multi-user system is up and running. So simply wanted by to multi-user.target. With this, our systemd service file is complete. Let's save this and close. Here I have given a wrong syntax. Control O to save the file and enter, then Control X to exit. We can now start and enable the Gunicon socket by systemctl start gunicon.socket, and we will also enable this. Simply write enable instead of start for the above command. When a connection is made to that socket, systemd will automatically start the gunicon.service to handle it. Let's check the status of the process to find out whether it was able to start. For that, systemctl status gunicon.socket. Yeah, here you can see our socket is active, it is listening. Currently we only started the Gunicon socket unit. The Gunicon service will not be active yet since the socket has not yet received any connections. We can check this by typing systemctl status Gunicon. You can see here it is saying inactive and it is dead. To test the socket activation mechanism, we can send a connection to the socket through curl by typing curl -unix -socket /run /gunicon.sock space localhost. Here we will receive the HTML output from our application in the terminal. This indicates that Gunicon was started and was able to serve our Django application. You can verify that the Gunicon service is running by typing the earlier command, which is systemctl status Gunicon. And if you see, earlier it was saying that it is dead, but now it is active. Now that Gunicon is set up, we need to configure Nginx to pass traffic to the process. Control Z to exit. Now create and open a file with our project name inside Nginx site available directory, which is nano/etc/nginx/sites available, and then deploy _Django, which is my main app's name. Here open a new server block. This block should listen on the normal port 80 and that it should respond to our server's domain name or IP address. For that, listen at port 80 and the server name is, let's go back to the server. This is our IP address. So copy this and paste it here and semicolon. Next, we will tell Nginx to ignore any problems with finding a favicon. Location equal to /favicon.ico and access _log space off log _con off We will also tell it where to find the static assets that we collected in our project's main directory, which is our project slash static. I'll write a location static, which means whenever the slash static comes in the URL, it will search in this location, root home slash home slash Cinehal123 slash Django underscore deploy. This is the project's root directory name, and I'll close with semicolon. Finally, we will create a location block to match all other requests. Location slash. Inside of this location, we'll include the standard proxy params file included with the Nginx installation itself. We'll include that file, include proxy params, and then we will pass the traffic directly to the Gunicon socket. Proxy pass http :/unix:/run/gunicon.sock. Now let's save this file, enter and exit. Now we can enable the file by linking it to the sites enabled directory by typing sudo ln -s etc/nginx/sites available /deploy _Django, which is the file name which we have created just now, and etc/nginx/sites enabled. Now we can test our Nginx configuration file for any syntax errors by typing nginx -t. Yeah, the Nginx configuration syntax is proper, so it is saying syntax is okay and test is successful. As we have no errors, we can go ahead and restart our Nginx server by typing systemctl restart Nginx. And now we have to open up our firewall to normal traffic on the port 80. For that, ufw allow nginx full. Okay. Since we no longer need access to the development server, we can remove the rule to open port 8000 as well. For that, ufw delete allow 8000. Now our Django application should be run at the IP address given. So let's go back to that and check once again. Now we don't need this :8000 and let's try to run. Wow, here our Django application is deployed successfully. You can go to the /admin and check if the static files are being loaded or not. Here you can see this kind of UI is coming only because our static files are loading. So there is no issue of loading the static files. One more thing to note is that whenever we make changes to the Gunicon service file, reload the daemon to reread the service definition and restart the Gunicon process by typing systemctl daemon -roll reload, which reloads the daemon, and the other command would be restart Gunicon for restarting the Gunicon. Whenever we pull some new changes, restart the Nginx server by typing systemctl restart Nginx. This is the end of the tutorial. Thank you. Hope everyone likes this video. If it is useful for you, please like, share and subscribe. Thank you.